This is a story about my grandpa. This is a picture of his mom and dad. His dad was a lawyer and his mom was a really great mom. But one time she got sick and she had to go to the doctors for just a routine surgery, but she didn't make it. His dad got really upset and he started drinking. Later he wasn't able to take care of his kids for his drinking problem. This is my grandpa and his brothers and sisters. My grandpa's the one in the middle. He's the chubby little baby. My great-grandpa sent him and his brothers and sisters off to different houses so that they can work and raise some money for him, and also so they can be taken care of. My grandpa didn't like the people he was with because they weren't very nice to him, so he ran away. He found another family to stay with. They were really nice. The mom was a teacher. She taught him a lot of things. He still had to work for them, and his dad got that money, but they taught him a lot, and he appreciated it. One day he was really excited because his dad told him that he'd pick him up and they'd have a day together. He waited on the porch all day, but his dad never made it. My grandpa grew up a little bit and he played football. He was really big for his age. Even when he was just 13 years old, people thought he was 21 years old. When he was about 14, he decided to join the Navy. He wasn't old enough, but since he looked so much older than he actually was, all he did was lie about his age and then he joined the Navy. He has told me about so many adventures that I cannot tell them all. He shot down planes, he saved lives, he fought. One time he had to save his friend's life. He was out at sea and his friend had tuberculosis. He was really sick and he told the captain that they had to go back to shore. But the captain didn't want to because the more time he stayed out at sea, the more money he got. Finally, when they went back to shore, it was too late and his friend had passed away. The captain was so scared of my grandpa because my grandpa told him that if his friend died that he would kill him, so he ran off, and my grandpa never saw him again. Since the captain was gone, my grandpa was put in charge of one of the ships. One day while on leave from the Navy, he wanted to go on a date. He got his yearbook and started looking at all the girls. He picked one girl that he had seen a few times at school. He thought she was the prettiest one of all of them. So he got his friend to call her and asked her to go on a group date with all of them. She went out with them, but with her brother's permission. That girl became my grandma later. When he was finally done with the war, he came back and they wanted to get married. But to his surprise, all the money that he had saved up and sent home to his dad to take care of had been spent on his brother for a boarding school. Though he didn't have a lot of money, they still got married and were very happy. They later had 2 kids, one being my Aunt Colleen and one my mom. My grandma and grandpa were really happy. They lived in Stockton and one of his first jobs was running a theater there in Stockton. One time he was having a little bit trouble with all the noise because some guys weren't keeping quiet while the movie was going. He asked the man nicely to be quiet because they were trying to watch it and he didn't want to, so my grandpa kicked him out of the theater. He didn't have any trouble after that. The second job that my grandpa had was working with Scopitone. Scopitone worked sort of like a jukebox, but instead of just playing music, it played music videos too, and some television. It was very popular. One day, my grandpa found out that some people were laundering money from the Scopitone business. He told the authorities, but little did he know that the people that were laundering it was the mafia. My grandpa had to go to New York to testify against what was happening, but the mafia was after him right away. They made it so he wouldn't be able to go there. They even followed my Aunt Colleen and my mom to school every day, threatening that if my grandpa went to New York, that something would happen to his kids. One day he was supposed to go to New York and he was supposed to take a certain bus, but at the last moment he decided not to because he had a feeling he shouldn't. There was a little bomb placed on the seat where he was supposed to be. Another time when he was supposed to go to New York to testify, he was thrown in jail. There was no reason for him to be thrown in jail, but it was a crooked cop and they didn't want him in the way. He didn't know what to do and he just wanted his family safe. His dad, who was a lawyer, had another friend who went to jail and to help my grandpa. He was actually LDS. He told my grandpa to sign some papers saying that he wouldn't say anything ever, and that if he did, his family and him would be safe and wouldn't be hurt. My grandpa signed the papers, and he didn't talk about it ever again. My grandpa kept his promise and never told us or anybody else about what had happened with Scopatone and the Mafia. He was too nervous that something would happen to his family. He actually didn't talk a lot, and I always wondered why he was so quiet. But about 2 years before he passed away, he started talking a lot more. He actually told us all about what had happened. He showed us the papers about Scopatone and the letters that were being sent back and forth between New York and the lawyers and everything that had happened. He told me all about his experiences in the war, and I learned a lot more about my grandpa. His life was amazing, and I hope to learn a lot more about it one day. I think that my grandpa is a great man, and I hope to make a movie about his life one day. The end.